If you're looking for safety in fantasy drafts, I have 5 players that you might want to avoid in 2025 right here on RotoWire. Starting off with our first player, Puka Nacua. This genuinely breaks my heart because I've been drafting him like crazy in best ball, but we just got news that Matt Stafford still isn't practicing and he's already had an epidural to deal with a herniated disc in his back. If you want a comparison of how bad it is, just imagine your dad when he was still trying to play pickup basketball with you and your friends in high school. With that being said, he's been a hyper target earner, so I'm not saying that you should fade him or drop him out of the first round, but he's gone from someone when I was comfortable taking him at the 4th, 5th, 6th pick, if not even wide receiver 2, and now he's firmly around the turn, if not closer to the 2nd round, just because of that risk factor. We already know that Jimmy Garoppolo is not a franchise guy. Moreover, Jimmy Garoppolo is not that much younger than Matt Stafford at this point. So we don't know exactly what he is in this offense, especially now that Davante Adams is added back into the mix. I was okay with Davante Adams being there, if not excited, just because that Matt Stafford was there. Now that he's gone, I think I'm going to pass at his current cost. Next, it's Bucky Irving for the Buccaneers. I know that Bucky Irving's a good player. This isn't about his tape or that the Buccaneers don't love him. It's the fact that they also like Rachaad White, and there's a new coaching staff in, particularly offensive coordinator. Liam Cohen's gone at the Jacksonville Jaguars, and they've been pretty adamant that they believe they have a 1A, 1B scenario, meaning that Rachaad White's still going to get a lot of those passing down, a lot of that passing work. Taking Bucky Irving as your RB1, especially taking him in the 2nd round, too rich for my blood because I don't know if he's going to beat that ADP. And more than likely, I think that he's just going to fall short, and you can get somebody after him from that range. You get somebody after him in that range who has higher upside. Essentially, I think that you're drafting him at his ceiling. So if you're like a dynasty player, I'm not saying go out there and try to sell Bucky Irving. You could put him on the block and maybe tear down if you want. But if you're going to be drafting him in redraft, I would just insulate your cost a little bit more on someone like Amari and Hampton at this point. I know Rashawn Slater just went down, but I would rather have some of those younger guys going a round or 2 after him, or even a vet like Breece Hall instead of Bucky Irving at that cost. And before we go any further, if you like content like this, make sure to hit the like and subscribe button so we can continue to keep giving you that fresh content all the way until you start your drafts. More importantly, we just had a big site refresh and we have our draft kit available for you. You can do mock drafts, set custom settings, do a league sync so you can have custom cheat sheets for your rankings regardless of format. Just go over to rotowire.com, use the code YouTube15 right here on the screen, and you get 15% off on all of our products and subscriptions. And we'll jump right back into it. Terry McLaurin, he is doing what's called a hold-in, which means that he'll sign autographs, but he's not signing a contract until he gets what he wants. He's a lot older, and I think the Commanders don't want to pay him because of that. And I can see both sides of this argument. The only side that I can't see is how we win as fantasy managers. It's important for players to be on the field. It's important for players to be on the field and practicing together, and we see this correlate to less production until they have worked themselves back in the offense. It's why we have a preseason. You need those live reps, and you need to practice so you're not going out there and looking sloppy right away. It's why we have things called mid-season form, because you've already had the preseason. You've already had the first 4 games when the real offense is trying to gel together. We're missing all that, especially Jaden Daniels is coming into his year 2 season. Do I expect a sophomore slump? Actually, yes, at this point, mainly because of Terry McLaurin. And that doesn't include what normally happens when the league adjusts to a second-year player. It's hard for me to justify Terry McLaurin when I can get some other vets, or even get Marvin Harrison Jr., get another risky guy like Davante Adams, DJ Moore, DK Metcalf. I feel like I can get guys that are also wide receiver ones on their team at a much cheaper discount, and they're also practicing right now. Next, it's David Montgomery. Ben Johnson is off on the Bears. Now we have a new offensive coordinator that's not from that same coaching tree. And I just worry about the Lions because that defense is going to be healthy. Is there going to be enough on the bone to where we see a lot of high volume like we've seen in the past? And then the third reason is I think the genie, or rather Jahmyr Gibbs, is out of the bottle at this point, and I don't see them having the same 50-50 split. If anything, I think that Jahmyr Gibbs is going to dominate a lot of these touches, and then David Montgomery is more of a change of pace back at this point. I just can't justify drafting him there when I can get some of these other guys that are quote-unquote backups, or someone like Tank Bigsby having a good camp much cheaper. We'll finish it off with a wide receiver, Chris Olave. The Saints just seem like a disaster. They don't know who their quarterback is. They drafted Tyler Shuck on day 2, but he seems to be falling behind to Spencer Rattler. I know there's a lot of Spencer Rattler fans out there. I think the fact that it's only taken the apocalypse in New Orleans for him to actually get serious consideration to be the QB1 should be concerning. And he's already had his own mechanical problems ever since he was back at OU. And I don't think that they've magically gone away at this point in his career. I don't know what the Saints are going to look like on offense, even with a good offensive mind like Kellen Moore. But I know that Chris Olave, someone that I love, he seems like he's another risky player, and someone even in a dynasty that I find hard to draft if I'm not getting him at wide receiver 3 cost at this point. And especially now in redraft, I don't even want him as a wide receiver 3 because I think that might be his ceiling without a quarterback. Until they figure it out, it's a firm fade for all the Saints for me at this point. And that'll do it, folks. Again, hit the like, subscribe button. If you want full access to all of our content with 15% off, make sure to go use that code YouTube15. Love you. See you in the next one.